Welcome back, everyone. I want to talk about why motivation is a lie and what actually works for me, and actually might help you guys too, because I know there's a lot of things out there, a lot of kind of different people saying that you need the motivation to get you where you want to be. And obviously, we do need motivation to a certain degree. But I believe the way we've kind of thought about it is incorrect. I think we've maybe got it as a society the wrong way around, if that makes sense. And a lot of the time, when we're kind of going through day to day, we kind of wait for that motivation. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll start that project when I'm motivated. Okay, I'll start following my dreams when I'm motivated to. Or maybe I'm motivated one day a week, but that one day a week isn't going to get you where you need to go, if that makes sense. You can't just focus on such a short period of time or like a fleeting thing. So I kind of want to put that around to you too, and just let you think of some time where you maybe rely on motivation. Maybe it's going to the gym, maybe it's calling a friend, maybe it could be many different kind of things. But yeah, I just want you to kind of think, have I been waiting for something to kind of motivate me, to push me to do this thing? And is that truly the right thing to do? Should I be kind of focusing on that? Because that's definitely a difficult thing, because in society and being brought up, we're kind of led to believe that is the correct way, if that makes sense. That this is we should wait for motivation to come here before we kind of strike, and that we take our chance, or we kind of put in the work. Where for me, it's normally the opposite way around. For me, I personally feel like I have to start putting in the kind of actions, and then the motivation comes after it. Especially with new things that you kind of have not done before, or different situations, or even going to the gym or stuff like that. I feel so much more motivated when I start putting in the actions. And I try to kind of think why that is. And for me, it's more because for some strange reason, my brain works in a way where when I start to actually do the thing that I'm wanting to do, I realize actually the things that I enjoy about it. I remind myself. If haven't been to a gym for a couple of weeks or something like that, or I haven't done a creative project, or done some programming or something like that, I forget why I'm doing that thing and what the reasoning, that I was so passionate about that thing in the first place, or even the positive kind of benefits that can come out of it. We want to wait for that motivation where we feel perfectly right to actually take action, when most of the time that is rarely the case. So we kind of need to push ourselves with love and with discipline. And sometimes you just need to kind of be pushed out the door. And once you do it, you start to realize why I'm enjoying doing this. And then the motivation comes after that, if that makes sense. You've done the thing that you need to do, and you've gotten home and you're like, oh, that gym session felt amazing. I have all these endorphins running through my veins. I feel incredible. And that's where the motivation comes from. It's the reward for doing a hard thing. And yeah, for me, that's kind of been the case. Over the last few years, I've obviously looked around, because I do feel like I'm a motivated person, but I don't care how motivated you truly are. I believe that with kind of time doing something, you do get those lulls, those times where maybe you're not motivated to do it, or maybe you're tired, or maybe you didn't sleep very well. And obviously you have to analyze and say, is this really going to be beneficial to me? If am really tired and I go to the gym consistently, then one time isn't going to hurt if you're really exhausted, like your kids kept you up, and maybe you just didn't get much sleep, and that's totally fair enough. But if you're looking at yourself and you know that you're not being truthful to yourself and that you're not actually following the kind of guidelines that you would for your life, like you don't feel proud, and then you start to feel like a level of guilt for that. And I don't think that's healthy for any of us to truly feel. So yeah, I feel like we have to be action-oriented people when it comes to motivation. If we want that motivation, think about it in the terms of, I want motivation, I want to be more motivated. Let me try do this thing when I'm not motivated, and then let's see what happens. Let's see if I magically get motivated after it. And I don't know if you would, I don't like to really use the word motivated because it does just have like this kind of negative connotation now, where I feel like it's not, because definition of it is that I will feel motivated, like I will become motivated once like I hear someone talk about something, or when I woke up in the morning I was really motivated, and that to me has not really given me much in my life, if that makes sense. So I guess, like, what if we don't need to wait for motivation? What if the action itself creates the momentum we need? And that's like an interesting thing for me, because I think the action comes, the momentum comes, and then we kind of get that motivation, because now we've kind of got like some skin in the game. We've got something, like we're there. This is becoming our habit. And I truly believe that that is 100% the truth, because there's been too many times in my life, especially when you're younger, you're like, oh, wait till I get a motivation or that, or I'm not motivated to actually do that thing. And it's like, you'll never be motivated enough to do that. Yes, you might hear like a motivational speech on YouTube one day and it motivates you to do it. But in the long term, like 5 months down the road, I don't think that's truly going to kind of lead you or like keep you like satisfied, if that makes sense. There has to be something deeper. There has to be like something behind there, like kind of like telling you, oh yeah, like you don't need the motivation. Like you're better than that. Like you don't need to rely on something like external to make you feel motivated. Or like, I guess you can gain motivation from your own dreams, but I think this will only help, even if you do feel like you disagree and you are a super motivated person, and that's totally fine. Because for me, I'm only kind of talking about my own life, kind of like what I've been through, and sometimes that won't resonate with you, and sometimes someone else will be like, oh, I feel exactly the same. I can't believe they're actually thinking the same as me. So hopefully that resonates with you a little bit. But have you ever like waited for motivation to strike before taking action? Because I know I definitely have, with a lot of kind of different things. The other day I was kind of waking up in the morning, and I have like a bit of a routine where I enjoy running a lot, and it kind of just clears my head. But a lot of the time when I wake up in the morning, I just cannot be bothered. Like it's the least thing I want to do. Because I'm in a nice warm bed. It can be cold outside in Canada. And I kind of like get up and I'm like, oh, don't stay in bed, stay in bed. And my body is literally telling me to stay in bed, and my brain is also. But something in like kind of the back of my mind is like, just get up and like do it, just go for it. You don't need to like wait for that motivation. So I kind of get out and I go for a run. I feel like kind of like my feet underneath me. I feel like present, and I feel the endorphins running through like my brain and like my body. And I just, yeah, I felt like connected. but in the best possible way. And I wouldn't have had that feeling if I did kind of wait for motivation to strike, because I didn't feel motivated at all to be in that situation, if that makes sense. Like, I did not want to go out for that run, but something positive came from the reward. And I think that's something that sometimes we overlook. We kind of focus on the present and how we feel like right now in this moment, rather than thinking, how will we feel if I take this action? How will my body kind of like react if I give it something that probably it needs? Because obviously sometimes we just believe that maybe like, oh, we need that extra rest. Like, and to be honest, for me, it's like I could easily just kind of stay in bed and be lazy and get that extra like half an hour or an hour. And just because it's safe, isn't it? Like, your mind and body believes that's the place you should be. But once you start getting those, you start taking those steps, you start kind of pushing yourself slowly, and you get that positive kind of reinforcement. Like, it happens like straight away. And even if it doesn't happen straight away, if you know that the reward for you is positive, and even if a reward is so minutely positive, like there's things that you have to do, like clean your kitchen or take the garbage out, like stuff like that, like they are still positive outcomes, and they're things that obviously we have to do. And even like creating something like a podcast, you could procrastinate on that because maybe you feel like it's not perfect or you don't have the motivation to do it. But most of the time, for me, that motivation comes from the process. And so that's the thing. I didn't have to wait for like the motivation to come before the run. It came after I started. And that's like an interesting kind of thing that I noticed, and which kind of prompted me to create this podcast episode, if that makes sense. And so I kind of want to like ask you guys a question, just because I think it's good to reinforce kind of ideas that I'm thinking, but also to be a bit like to kind of reflect on yourself. And I guess my question here would be, please just try think of a time when you didn't feel motivated but push through anyway, and what kind of happened once you started. And did it feel positive? Did it feel negative for you? Did it help? And I think most of us can kind of like say that it did feel positive. And I'd be surprised if you were to come back and say, oh, this was actually a negative experience, me doing this. And most of the time you're probably going to think, yeah, I'm happy I did that. Like, I'm proud of myself for doing that. And it kind of builds some discipline to you, which is a positive thing. But yeah, like, we kind of like have to deconstruct the lie. And I wouldn't so call it a lie, but maybe our understanding is becoming better of motivation. Like, over the years, like, we're gaining more knowledge about motivation, and maybe it was just kind of lazy choice of wording, or maybe it's changed over the time because maybe people didn't need, and maybe people were more motivated, I don't know. Or maybe people were just questioning this more. But for me, we have to like kind of question where it comes from. And I definitely believe that it kind of comes from movies, books, our culture, Instagram, and stuff like that. Like, people saying, like, the hero waiting for the perfect moment to kind of feel energized and to suddenly act. And we've kind of seen this as growing up, that they've kind of like waited till the perfect time, till they feel like perfectly kind of and motivated, and then they take those massive leaps of action, when really it makes an interesting movie, don't get me wrong, and it makes an interesting story, but most people day to day truly need small, just actionable steps, and they don't for those small actionable steps, you don't really need to be motivated. Like, I truly don't think you need that at all. And I would say discipline, yes, but sometimes I feel like we're using motivation as like a procrastination tool. Like we're trying to, instead of kind of doing the action that we know we need to do and we're probably going to have to do in 2 days anyway, we're using procrastination as a way to be like, oh, well, I'll do it in 2 days once I feel motivated, or I'll do it when I feel motivated. Maybe I'll feel motivated in a couple of hours, or maybe, yeah, like right now I'm not going to do my best because I'm not motivated. And it's like, do we truly know that? Because how do you know you don't turn on the camera, or you don't start drawing, or you don't start playing guitar, then suddenly that motivation comes as soon as you've like put your fingers on the strings? Like, how do we know that that action doesn't suddenly spark the motivation or the inspiration to do it? So yeah, like I feel like we've kind of been lied to as a society with different kind of medias, different just people giving maybe like cheap advice rather than thinking deeply and being like, how can this actually like help you? Like, how can this help the average day-to-day person? And because for me on this channel, what I'm wanting to kind of bring together is things that can help the average person, because at the end of the day, like, that's truly what I am. Like, I'm not like any different to you. And I've just kind of been thinking about these thoughts, and they could be original, they could be kind of like tons of other people could be thinking about them. And if that's the case, then that's amazing, because that means that there's a community out there that kind of thinks the same way that I do. And it feels like a lot less alone, which is great, especially because when you kind of I grew up in the UK, and like stuff like this, or thinking deeply, or taking this kind of time to think about your thoughts in my family, or like even in the kind of society I grew up in, it wasn't super encouraged. Like, it was kind of like, put your head down, kind of, and don't kind of think too much. And it's not even that it's like implicitly like said, it's more like you can see the other kind of men around you, and even kind of women around you, doing similar things, and like not talking about their feelings or what they think in their mind, and or having conversations about these kind of things, like little things, but truly are actually big things. And yeah, so that was a bit of a detour, but I thought it was kind of like good to kind of bring in where I've come up with this kind of idea. But yeah, like, I think just within our culture, like hustle culture and stuff like that, they kind of like make you feel less than if you don't have that energy day to day. If maybe you're tired, or maybe you don't have that level of motivation which they have, and you feel like, okay, well, I can't do that because I don't have the level of motivation that they have. But if you strip it back, most likely they don't have that motivation either. Like, they probably have discipline. They probably have just like a very action oriented person. Because for me, I'm a very like thoughtful person, and I kind of think through a lot of things before I do them. And that can be a great thing, but that can also actually like backfire on me, just for a pure reason that maybe I don't pull the trigger enough, maybe I don't do enough actions to get me to where I want to be. And that's, these last couple of years, I've kind of been trying to switch it around, where obviously I do want to think a lot. I do want to have conversations. I do want to kind of dive deeply into myself, but I also want to like pull the trigger, and I also want to like create actions and to create change within my own environment and others. And I guess if you're more of like a thought-provoking kind of person, you're in your head a lot, you're in your mind a lot, maybe it's taking like a step back and focusing more on the actions than thinking too much. And obviously thinking is helpful, and you don't want to like kind of be there like not thinking and making terrible decisions. But I truly do believe that taking more actions and maybe like still thinking about it, but giving yourself a certain time limit to thinking about and being like, okay, now I need to create the action to follow that. And that is beneficial for the kind of person that we are. And if you're more of an action oriented person, then damn, you've got it good in a way. But yeah, like when you think about it, like I kind of was thinking of like a different in my head, like how to kind of make my brain relate with it. And one way I was thinking about it, because I'm a big like kind of Marvel fan, I've always kind of like loved like superheroes and different things like that. And but when you think of like Tony Stark, he didn't just like suddenly get like a massive like bit of motivation and then become a superhero. Over time, he kind of like built his suit. He did tiny different actions. He changed like different things in his life to actually become that superhero and to become the person that he wanted to be, and to obviously help the universe and save people's lives. And I know that's like a fictional story, but there's truth behind it because it's created by humans. Like there's always going to be truth behind that. And I think maybe even subconsciously, when they created that character, and the realism behind it is so true. Like we have to kind of like see ourselves as a mini project, and that don't like we have to obviously listen to our feelings. And yes, like sometimes we really are not in a good place to do these things, but a lot of the time our body wants to keep us safe, our mind wants to keep us safe too, and we kind of have to like run around that and ignore them to a certain extent to create the actions to help you improve. Because if I'm someone that loves to drink and I'm waiting on motivation to stop drinking, I know that's a different situation, but it's not really like it's the same structure underneath. Then I'm going to be waiting a long time, and maybe I don't have that time. Maybe my family are not dealing with that situation very well. And really, you have to kind of strip the emotions away from it and be like, will this action of stopping drinking, of starting this new thing, will this be profoundly positive to me? And if the answer is yes, then I would say you kind of just have to take those small steps, and you have to put your emotions aside, put motivation to a side, that will follow, and take the actions. And like I feel like once you have that, that will positively kind of affect you. But yeah, when we kind of wait for motivation to act, we end up procrastinating. And that for me, like it can be a huge deal. And so I kind of just wanted to put that out there. And that's where kind of like guilt can paralyze us too, because you kind of like keep spinning around on that idea. Like maybe I want to do this thing. Maybe I want to kind of create a podcast. Maybe I want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe I want to start like talking to my partner more. Maybe I want to, there's tons of different things it can be, but you think about those things, but you don't do them. And then you feel guilt for not doing them. And at the end of the day, that's going to negatively impact you in the long run. It's like a cycle. It's like a circle that keeps on kind of happening. But yeah, like I think we have to realize that we can't wait for motivation to show up. We need to focus on what we do have. And if that isn't motivation, if that's just being able to kind of throw ourselves out the door and do that thing, then I think that's more than enough. And I think with time, you will gain that kind of like for lack of a better word, motivation or just momentum. I think momentum is a better word for this, and it's probably one I would want to focus on, because momentum kind of is like a snowball kind of rolling down a hill, and by the time it gets to the end of a hill, it's huge because it's gained that momentum, which is cool. Like that's kind of like a visual kind of way. But yeah, if I waited for motivation, I'd probably get barely anything done, because for me, like I'm not like an innately super motivated person. And I am once I start. Like I'm a really inspired person, but like getting up in the morning, I'm like, oh, like this is hard. This is very hard. And I think that's real. And I think that's what a lot of people go through. And that's kind of why I kind of want to share it, because it's not exactly pretty. It's not like, oh, I wake up every day and I can kind of like got no problem getting straight to work, like kind of like doing that. Like, no, like my mind tries to play tricks on me. And I guess I could kind of just say that I maneuver around it and try to be smarter than that part of my brain. But yeah, I kind of just want to like ask, like, when was the last time you waited for motivation to strike, and did it strike? I'm curious about that. And if you could like leave your kind of answer in the comments, and that's great. You don't have to, but yeah, I kind of want to go over like a little framework and a little different kind of ways that I have kind of used in the past few years to kind of like help myself get through these times, especially when I do feel a lack of motivation, like the opposite way around. Like I don't want to be doing anything. These are kind of like especially after a long day, if you've got like a little side hustle, or you've got a little creative endeavor on the side, like it's hard if you come back from a day of work. Like I totally know how you feel. Like you're tired, you just want to watch TV, you just want to kind of go out with your friends, you kind of just want to do whatever you find super interesting and easy to do in that moment. Or maybe you just don't want to do anything and you just want your brain to kind of turn off. And these are kind of like frameworks that can help you to like get past those little parts. And one part for me that kind of helps is starting super tiny. And so maybe you say, I'm going to do 5 minutes of this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to program for 5 minutes, and I'm just going to see how it goes. And I'm not going to try to trick myself and do more than 5 minutes. But if you get there and you're like, okay, I've done 5 minutes, it's actually really like fun and I'm motivated now and it's kind of tricked my brain, then great, like carry on. Why not? If it works, then do it. And for me, a lot of the time, those things do work. Like it ends up being a situation where like I've sat down for a little bit and I'm doing the thing and I'm like, oh my God, it was actually the energy it takes to transition from one thing to another, which was holding me back. Like there's a lot of energy that gets like exerted from basically you've just got home, you just got changed, you just got out of your office kind of clothing, you could easily pick like TV or do that productive thing or do that thing that I'm really passionate about. And TV is so damn easy. It's so easy just to fall into that. But then you think, okay, well, I can watch TV after I do 5 minutes of this. Or I can go out with my friends once I do 5 minutes of this. And you do 5 minutes, you're like, actually, like, this is fun. Like, I'm enjoying this. This actually isn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it would be. So you end up doing like 25 minutes, or you do half an hour, or you do like an hour, and you've been lost in it. You kind of the flow state at that point. And that is like an amazing feeling once you've done that once or twice, because you begin to realize that actually you're not a slave to those thoughts. Like that thought that told you that this is way too tiring is most likely just that like it's that one thing, a thought. and thoughts don't have to be given into, and they're just kind of like, we have so many thoughts throughout the day, but not all of them are actually of like a high level or even worth listening to. They're a lot of the time they can be actually negative towards us. So then you begin to realize, oh, next time I don't have to listen to that at all. Like I can actually just use this little thing that I've learned, and now I can actually do what I love to do, and I don't even have to really think about it. And yeah, it's not going to be, it might not be that easy at the start, but for me, it worked like a charm. So that's kind of like something I wanted to kind of gift you. And there's another one that I've kind of like, I really abide by because, yes, I'm a thoughtful person. Like I love to think, I love to talk through ideas. I love to make plans. So for me, like systems are the perfect thing for that. So using like systems over feelings. So maybe you basically could put in your calendar, at this time for this hour I do this, or at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning I go for a run, and you literally stay loyal to that calendar as well as you can. And you just, when you wake up on a Tuesday at 6 a.m., you're like, okay, it's run time. First time will be probably really difficult and really hard. And then you do it another time, and you do it another time, and then your brain starts to realize, okay, he's not listening to me when I'm saying this. And actually, we're getting some positive things out of this and some positive results. I feel great. And it starts to kind of like make that noise smaller. Like for me, it never truly leaves, but it does get smaller and it does get easier. And that's kind of like the thing that I want to get over to you, because I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, like as soon as you do this, instantly it's gone, because that's not how humans work. And that's not how anything's worked for me. If it's worked for you like that, then congratulations and you're lucky. But I think for most human beings on a day-to-day basis, that's definitely not how it works. So yeah, just to kind of repeat that, systems over feelings. Yeah, you could put in your calendar, you could put time slotting, you could put on your to-do list. For me, putting it like a certain time, and keeping it like routinely that same time over the weeks is really beneficial. And just make it realistic too, because you don't want to be like, oh, I'll do it this time, like 5 times over the week. And maybe for you, that isn't realistic because you came from not being able to even do it once. Be respectful to yourself and be kind to yourself and slowly upgrade it. It will change your life. Think of it as like tiny little baby steps. And I really I think that will be beneficial. So also, the last one is momentum over inspiration. And I've kind of like dabbled in this throughout our kind of conversation on this topic. And I truly believe this is true. I think you gain that momentum over time. I think say you've put into your calendar on the Tuesday and you're going for that run in the morning, or like you're going to practice some music at like after work at like 6 p.m. and you do that every Wednesday, you'll start to gain this momentum and this kind of respect for yourself and this love for what you're doing, where at one point you won't need as much kind of like discipline or like the motivation that you thought you needed. You would just have the momentum because you've gone so far right now, or you've kind of taken so many steps. Like motivation is cheap compared to that. Like you've got momentum, and that's worth so much more. That's worth tons more. So yeah, I would just say momentum, like for me, is my biggest motivator, if I can say, turn it around that way and say it's my biggest motivator, because I know once I start, then I have that kind of like momentum and I'm not going to be stopping anytime soon. And that's a great thing to kind of feel, and a different way to feel if you've kind of like been stuck in this circle of kind of feeling paralyzed and like kind of shame about yourself, when truly like this is a very human thing. You are not alone. We all feel this. I feel like we just don't talk to each other about it enough, or we sweep it under the rug and we want it to kind of like disappear before, like we hope that it will just suddenly one day we'll wake up and we're a superhero, when truly if you start, take those actions, get that momentum, you'll become that superhero, like the superhero that you want to truly become. And that for me is like a really, like that keeps me going. And that is my like kind of motivator in a way. Also, I think curiosity over clarity too, because we don't always like know like the perfect plan. Like I don't know like what's perfect about this podcast, or what, like I kind of just have this curiosity to have conversations about things that I find interesting. And I know with time my skills will increase and I'll get better and I will achieve things which I want to. I've got that faith, but that truly I've got that curiosity, and you don't need to have everything planned out perfectly. Just go do, like just go take those actions. Because I think that is another thing that stops us, is because we don't have that perfect plan. And I'm sorry to say, but I don't believe that everyone has the perfect plan. When people begin, if you go look when they first began doing something, they were probably not that motivated and they were maybe bad at that thing. But over time, they gained skills and they gained momentum and they became better at that. And so all I would say is have that curiosity and allow yourself to go through something which maybe is difficult in the moment, but might inspire you to kind of be better, if that makes sense. But I do have like another question, like a kind of reflective question, which I want to ask you, which is where in your life are you waiting to feel ready? And what could happen if you just started without waiting for motivation? Because we all have those kind of areas where like we don't feel kind of ready yet, and the problem is that I don't truly feel like we'll ever feel ready to be in that area, if that makes sense, or to do that thing. And so just keep that in mind, that I don't think anyone truly feels ready. But yeah, and for me, like I have many of those kind of like areas, like most areas in my life, I didn't truly feel like ready to take that first step. And I didn't feel motivated to take that first step. But I took those first steps and momentum happened, and I like gained skills and became a better person and was able to find myself more interesting and find other people more interesting and the thing I was doing way more interesting. So yeah, it's baby steps. I know I've been saying that so much, but it honestly is the truth. If you can take those little steps, you won't have to worry about the motivation, because you won't even have to think about it, because maybe one day you'll just wake up and that will be obsolete to you, because you know, like that comes when I start doing the thing that I need to do. So yeah, I kind of want to like invite you to think about a few different questions, just because when we kind of listen to videos like this, maybe we don't question ourselves enough. Maybe we listen to it, but we're not actively listening. And I think the best way to kind of like learn and to also like question things within ourselves is by asking ourselves questions. And that's always been a way for me. I kind of take certain things that I learn back to maybe a quiet place and I question it about myself, and I be truly honest to myself too. So I kind of want to ask this one question, which I think could help you if you were to ask yourself, and it's, if you act now, you might find the motivation that follows. And I know that's not really like a question, it's more of like a statement, but it's true. Like if you take that action now, the motivation might follow. And I can't like say that 100% will, but I think with time that will happen. And also I think about one thing you've been putting off because you're waiting to feel motivated. What could you do right now to move forward? And this is like a easy one because I think there's many places in our life which we're kind of like questioning, should I do that? And one thing is not too difficult. So if I was you, maybe just take that time to truly think about this and just kind of like ask yourself that. And if there is one step and one thing that you've been meaning to do, maybe just go take that and go do that. And this will like change your life. Like I know it will, like it changed mine. But yeah, for me, I'm starting to like fully believe that for work creates for motivation. So the action creates for motivation. And that it's not the other way around. Like it's definitely not the other way around. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and I hope you got something out of this. I know, like, obviously, there's certain parts to the structure which I'm still learning, and I hope you can kind of give me some leeway and know that with time I'll get better, because I'm just kind of like trying to wrap my mind around it. Obviously, I've never done anything like this before. It's very new, it's very raw, it's very real. And yeah, I guess I just want to thank you for watching this and for listening to this wherever you've heard. And if you really could, I'd be really thankful if you could give me any feedback, which you kind of have. And also just to drop a like. And my kind of true goal with this channel and for this podcast is to kind of get my skills up, to teach you guys some kind of like strategies and like, I guess, like kind of things I've learned over my life that might benefit you. But also I want to get some guests on here and I want to have some really kind of great conversations and just kind of pick their brain and get like be able to get information from them for you to help you guys in your life, because I know that's truly what I'm trying to do, and I think other people out there are trying to do the same. So yeah, and once again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.